Today's review is sponsored by Bailey, the sweet old lady who is a little shy. Tell her she's a good girl.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion. How's it going, everybody? As you can see, I am in Bailey's house for this week. Usual disclaimers. I apologize if the lighting is off, if the audio is off. This is just the best place in this house to film. But we have Bailey here. She's a very good girl. And on that note, let's get into the video. For the next few weeks, we're going to be diving into one of my favorite film series, starring one of my favorite actresses, Meiko Kaji, as one of my favorite characters, Nami Matsushima. The Female Prisoner Scorpion series. And just so things don't get too stale around here, I'm going to be doing this every other week. So this week we're going to start with the first movie, obviously, and then every other week I'm going to be looking at the sequels, just so I'm not, just talking about the same series for too long, just so things don't get too boring. But anyway, I am very excited to be talking about this one. The female prisoner movies walk a fine line between exploitation movie and art house movie. That's at least the case with the first two movies in the franchise. This was based off of a popular manga series that was coming out at the time. Now, this was the first movie directed by Shunya Ito, and it was not expected to be profitable at the Japanese box office. But the movie was so successful and so popular that it made this one movie into a series and created one of the most iconic characters in 1970s Japanese cinema, Nami Matsushima, aka Scorpion. Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion is a women in prison movie. This was a very popular genre when it came to American Grindhouse cinema. Women in prison movies are known for their sleaze, their violence, and their sexuality. Everything you want in an exploitation movie. The common tropes of this genre are, obviously, women in prison. You have steamy shower scenes, you have scenes of lesbian sex, you have sadistic prison guards, you have scenes of violence, scenes of sadism, a lot of sexuality, and usually you have this big climactic breakout in a women in prison movie. Not every women in prison movie, but that is a common trope of the genre. But of course, other countries took their part in this genre as well. You had a lot of Italian women in prison movies. In Japan, the first women in prison movie was, I think it was just called Women's Prison from 1968. And then later on, of course, you had Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion. Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion has all of those tropes and so much more, in my opinion. The movie follows Nami Matsushima, a woman on a quest for revenge. Before her imprisonment, she falls in love with this crooked detective named Sugimi. I apologize for mispronouncing these names, but anyway. So Sugimi is a crooked cop. Nami falls in love with him. He ends up taking her virginity. And then he manipulates her into taking part in a drug bust, which ends up being a setup, resulting in Nami being sexually assaulted. He does this to set up a rival Yakuza gang, and then he gets paid by the Yakuza gangsters that he is in league with. After this betrayal, Nami tries to stab him, resulting in her getting arrested and imprisoned. Now, this movie is basically a living hell. The warden is a very cruel man. The guards are sadistic. They put the prisoners through horrible torments, and Nami wants out, as anybody would. Sugimi uses his Yakuza connections to try and get Nami killed in prison. So we're watching her dealing with certain assassination attempts. We're watching her, dealing with the sadistic prison guards, and she eventually escapes to seek her revenge. Now, I know that is a minor spoiler, but be honest, that's what you all want in a movie like this.
Nami.
The women in prison genre is known to be very sleazy, and Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion is no different. But it is such a good entry in the genre. I would say it is one of the best women in prison movies, if not the best women in prison movie. The movie is not afraid to go to disturbing areas. It's nowhere near as extreme as other exploitation movies out there. I certainly don't think it's as extreme as some shocksploitation films you would see, but it does deal with rape at certain times. So people who are sensitive to that kind of stuff, just be ready for that if you decide to go into this movie. It's not as graphic as you would see in other movies, but it's still in there, so keep that in mind. This is a revenge movie, and one of my favorites at that, but it does take a while to get to the revenge, but it is very satisfying when we get to it, and we get a good women in prison movie while we're building up to that. We're watching the guards try to break Nami. We're watching her resist them. We're seeing her deal with the fact that people outside of this prison want her dead, and we see how she's working around that, seeing how she deals with the other prisoners, some that are okay with her, some that are obviously not. There's a lot of interesting dynamics in this movie, and there is so much that makes this movie very entertaining. It also has an artsy element to it. The movie is not abstract in any way, but there are moments throughout the film that feel like they come from an art house movie. This is especially seen when we're learning Nami's backstory.
頼みたいことがある。
それはおとり捜査だった。麻薬ルートの情報をつかむために。
There are scenes where the lighting's changing, creating these beautiful colors during some very violent sequences, which is an interesting contrast. These elements help set it apart from other women in prison movies and help it stand out in a genre where a lot of movies can feel similar to each other. And there's definitely some suspense in here. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening throughout the film that keeps you engaged. We get a good mix of villains throughout the film. There's a good ensemble of bad guys. You have the warden and the prison guards, of course, who provide this evil authority figure that we want to see Nami overcome. There are prisoners who are in lead with the guards, and they're kind of given authority over the other prisoners, and it's interesting watching Nami and the other prisoners deal with this group. And then, of course, we've got Sugimi and his Yakuza connections outside of the prison, trying to deal with Nami inside the prison. There's this one character named Katagiri. She's kind of the leader of the group of prisoners that are working with the guards. She is kind of hired by Sugimi to take out Nami, but in a way that makes it kind of look like an accident or something like that. So it's very interesting watching all this unfold. Now, Nami does have a couple allies in the prison, but she has a lot more enemies, which makes it all the more satisfying when we see Nami and her few allies get the better of our bad guys.
Kina.
And then we have the Queen of Vengeance, Nami Matsushima. Meiko Kaji developed quite a name for herself in Japanese exploitation cinema, starring in such films as Blind Woman's Curse, the Stray Cat Rock series. She also developed a bit of a singing career. She actually sung the main theme song to Female Prisoner Scorpion, titled Grudge Song. But her two most iconic roles would have to be Lady Snowblood and Nami Matsushima in Female Prisoner Scorpion. Nami is one of those mysterious, silent protagonists. She doesn't have a lot of lines throughout the whole series, honestly, but she still gives a great performance, all with her face. She has great face acting. She gives some very intimidating looks. These are the kind of looks that say, if I could kill you with my eyes, you'd be dead. The character goes through a lot. Attempts on her life, being punished by the prison guards, people conspiring against her, getting tied down, being forced to dig a hole until she dies. And she's able to overcome all of that with silent defiance. There are moments where Nami has to think on her feet in order to get out of a situation. She has almost this supernatural quality to her, or at least the illusion of a supernatural quality to her, which helps create this legendary figure that is Scorpion. This is especially seen after she escapes. Now, I know that is a bit of a spoiler, but this is a revenge movie. You go into it wanting to see her get revenge, so you know she's going to get out of prison at some point. And she has such an iconic look after she escapes. And it's so simple. Just a black trench coat and a big black hat that's covering part of her eye. It's such a simple design, but it's such a striking image. Female Prisoner Scorpion was such a big hit in Japan at the time. The movie and the character of Nami went on to inspire many other movies, the most notably being Sion Sono's Love Exposure, Abel Ferrara's Miss 45, and of course, Kill Bill by Quentin Tarantino. Nami Matsushima is such an iconic character. I just love her. She is one of my favorite characters, and this is one of my favorite exploitation movies and one of my favorite revenge movies. If you're a fan of exploitation movies, revenge movies, Japanese cinema, Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion is definitely worth your time. Now, it does get sleazy. There is a lot of nudity, there is a lot of violence, and that does include some sexual violence, so be ready for that. But it is such a great movie. I am really looking forward to talking about the rest of this series. And with that, let's get to the Grindhouse rankings. The body count is a bit messy, mostly due to a shootout in the third act. Let's just say it's somewhere between 1 and a million. The kills are mostly gunshots, but we also get a few stabbings and some bludgeonings. It reaches the women in prison requirements with shower scenes, sadistic guards, a little lesbianism, and a satisfying prison riot. There's a lot of nudity in this flick. I mean, of course there is. It's a women in prison movie. It kinda comes with the territory. This is a great revenge flick. It does take a little while to get to the revenge, but it is well worth it. There are some sadistic villains in this movie, making it very easy to root for Nami. The artsy elements help set this movie apart from other women in prison movies. I wouldn't go so far as to call this an art film, but those elements help give this movie its own identity. There's a good mix of violence throughout the film. Some a little more flashy, some more on the raw side, but if you're a fan of exploitation movies, it's a lot of fun. And Nami Matsushima is a great main character, one of my favorite characters in revenge movies. I'm giving this a 6 out of 5. This is one of my favorite movies, highly recommended to fellow exploitation film fans. As always, I want to thank all of you for continuing to watch and support this channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite character in a revenge movie. This is the Maniac and Bailey here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. She's demanding belly rubs. It's mandatory. See, the main part of this business, when dogs demand belly rubs, you have to give them belly rubs. Everybody have a good day.